But now, chat, we got to get into Gargoyles episode 3. And we're introduced to a couple of new characters. One that we actually saw in the very beginning of the first episode. What's her name? Eliza Maza, chat. Because we're just opening up with her. This is the part 3 in Awakening. Which I think they released as a movie. Apparently, that's what they did. And it makes sense because it's one continuous narrative. It's pretty cool. And Eliza, she's like, all right, I don't know what the fuck happened on top of your headquarters at Xantos, but I'm gonna find out. And she goes in the building, chat, and who does she fucking see? Who introduces himself? Alan goddamn Rickman. It's Alan Rickman. And he just begins, Miss Maza. I was like, wow, okay. I was shocked. I mean, it's not Alan Rickman, but he is doing a fucking Alan Rickman impression and a half, chat. And he's explaining the situation to Detective Maza, chat, saying that, oh, no, that wasn't, you didn't hear weapon fire. You didn't hear weapon fire. You didn't hear weapon fire. There was just a generator that blew out and it caused some debris to fall off the building. He built a castle up there, by the way. You know, I don't know why he built it, but that's what he did. He had a generator blew out, and that's why he had the debris. He's already called the mayor's office. He's going to pay for all the damages, of course. And that's what Xantos does, Mr. Xantos. He's a good guy. He's a swell guy. And Maza, she's like, no, I definitely heard like small weapon fire and assault weapon fire out here. Okay, automatic weapon fire. So if you don't mind, Alan Rickman, I'm going to go and talk to Xantos myself. And he's like, fine. And he takes her to the elevator, chat. They go up to the castle portion of his skyscraper. And there he is. There's Big Dick Xantos, chat. And he has an explanation for it. He's very kind to us. Like, oh, no, Eliza, welcome. No, welcome. I was glad to see you. I've already called the mayor's office. Everything's been taken care of. Don't worry. It's like, and she's like, no, there's something you're not telling me. He's like, well, in truth, it's true. You know, Owen, Alan Rickman, if you will, we have a story. Sadly, my building, he's being honest here, chat, my building was attacked by a rival corporation, and they stole some property from me. And she's like, what do you attack? You mean, okay, listen, I know that, you know, corporations go at it sometimes, but literally attacked you? He says, I'm a very rich man. I'm the head of a multinational, the largest multinational corporation in the world. Shit happens, okay? And she's like, all right, I'm feeling very uncomfortable about this. He's like, hey, I'm just gonna show you what I have here. It's like, you know, I was obsessed with this castle. I had to bring it to my building. First of all, what kind of fucking permits do you need in New York City to literally build a medieval castle from 994, like brick by brick, on a skyscraper? That's probably not up to code, chat. I'm going to guess. And fucking Eliza, she guesses too. She's like, nah, this is fucking weird. And eventually Xantos, he thinks that he's alleviated her mind. Like, if you have any questions for us next time, please, again, feel free to call me. Feel free to call Alan Rickman over here. Call the mayor's office. We'll help you out. She's like, well, I appreciate your time, Mr. Xantos. I appreciate you, detective. And so he takes her to the elevator, chat. She goes down, but she stops the elevator. And she gets off on the floor, chat, like the most sub-level of the castle level. And she's like, nah, something's fucking afoot. I smell some shit. I'm gonna go check out what this castle's really about, chat. And meanwhile, the fucking gargoyles are causing some shenanigans. Because we see Goliath, chat, and he's just watching this woman. He's like, what the hell is she doing? We also cut to the other gargoyles, and they're exploring the castle too. They're just as curious as Eliza is at this point, chat. And they're in the kitchen, and we get a little bit of a comedic gags, a few comedic beats, where they're like, words like, what the fuck is everything? Like, we can't even fathom what's actually happening here. And eventually you get the chubby, like, they don't have names yet either. One of them does get a new name, chat, but these three, the red one, the fat blue one, and the brown, smallest one, they're just kind of exploring. And the fat one gets locked in a giant freezer. They get him out, but he's like, tries to ram the door open. They fall on top of each other, knock over a whole bunch of shit. It's like, ha, gags. But then, chat, we are following Eliza. Is it Maza? Am I getting her name correctly? I want to say Maza. I want to put some respect on her name, chat. Detective Eliza Maza. If I'm not getting that right, please do correct me. And so she's going through this castle, and she's like, this is just so bizarre. But then who's following her, chat? It's the goddamn dog gargoyle. He's sniffing after her, chat. Like, what's going to happen? Eventually, she's out in the exterior of the castle, and she's like, wow, this is incredible. And fucking Goliath, big dick Goliath, chat, he just drops on down. She's like, what the fuck? And he takes her gun. She pulls a gun out. He's like, that's mine. I don't like that. He immediately takes the gun away from her, chat. And she's like, whoa, whoa. And she just falls off the edge of that building. King DJ, thanks for the 20 biddies. What are you watching the Gargoyles on? Disney Plus right now. Disney Plus. And so she fucking falls out of this building, and Goliath's like, oh shit, oh god. And he dives down after her, chat. He's flying, gliding. It's very, falling with style, as it's called, chat. Falling with style. That's what Woody said in Toy Story. Does not fly. But he's diving for her. He grabs her, chat, and he glides over to this next little skyscraper, chat. That's like, it's very, very close to the ground. He sets her down, and she just looks at him up and down. She goes, so do you want to fuck me here, or do you want to go back to my place? Because, chat, I think it's very obvious that she is incredibly attracted to Goliath here. Now, I don't know the history of this series, but there's going to be a romantic relationship between them, isn't there? Because it comes across immediately. I don't know if that was intentional, but she's just like, damn, I want all of this right here. I mean, I get it, Chuck. Goliath, I mean, again, he's a good-looking guy. He's muscular. He's got a very good physique. He's got a fucking chin and a hatchet. He clearly takes care of himself. Yes, he is a creature of the night. He has giant fucking bat wings. He's purple, but he has like luscious locks, shed. His hair is beautiful, but she is fucking thirsting for this gargoyle. I'm like, wow, you are not being subtle about this at all. And again, she's totally calm. She's like, what are you? She's like, I'm a gargoyle. She's like, that's so hot. I was like, okay. And he begins explaining everything to her. And she's like, well, can't you just fly me back up there? And he goes, well, I don't fly. I glide. I use my wings. I use the air currents, and that's what carries myself. She goes, oh, okay. And he's like, don't worry, I'm going to help you back up. So she piggyback rides him, chat. And those thighs are just cemented against Goliath right now. She's like, you're kind of crushing my back. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's just nuzzling into his neck. I'm like, come on. And he just begins climbing up the building, chat, like fucking Spider-Man. He gets up there, and they continue their conversation. It's so weird. The other gargoyles, they show up too. They're like, who is this? And Goliath, he's like a little flummox. He's like, oh, this is Detective Eliza Mazza. And she's like, hi. And they're like, oh, she seems really cool. And Goliath's like, she seems okay. It's like so obvious that, again, he's attracted to her too, chat. But he's still mourning his angel of the night. But Detective Mazza's like, hey, I'm investigating this whole situation here. I would love to talk to you later. And he's like, I would love to talk to you later. And because she's like, you probably want to know more about this world. Because that's what the Gargoyles are like. We don't know. They've been asleep for 1,000 years, Chad. They've been 1,000 years encased in stone. And like all this modern technology, it's all so foreign to them. And Goliath's like, okay, let's meet up, and you can show me the what endangers us in this world. And she's like, well, I'll also show you all the fun stuff you can do. He's like, what is fun? I don't do fun. Harumph. And he's like, should we meet here then? In the afternoon? He's like, no, at night. We gotta meet at night. And she's like, okay. He's like, but we're gonna meet on that building over there. So if you can be there by sundown, then we can talk. And she's like, that sounds hot. And so she goes down, chat. And then Xantos is like, Goliath, where are you? But it's so fucking obvious what's happening. He's soaked. I mean, I'm gonna be Lou, chat, but Jesus, the hair, chat. And listen, Eliza, she's very attractive too. I mean, I imagine, like, this cartoon is very mature in a lot of ways. And they draw the characters in a sexual way. I'm not gonna be around the bush. That's what they do. And they do it for this guy. I would not be surprised if you had a lot of, coming of age boys and girls who are like, wow, Eliza Mazza is hot as hell. There's no question about that. And so, Xantos, who's also very hot. I mean, he's sexy. He's rocking that fucking ponytail, chat, that goatee. He's looking good. He's like, Goliath, I need to talk with you. And Goliath's like, okay. And he's like, he meets, they ask, Goliath asks, like, what do you do, Elijah? She's like, I'm a detective. And he's like, what the fuck's a detective? And it's like, well, that's someone who captures criminals and puts them through the justice system. He's like, justice system? And he explains the whole situation. It's like, basically, I help people. And he's like, oh, you help the humans. I don't trust the humans. And it's like, okay, cool. And then she eventually leaves. And then Xantos, he's like, hey, Goliath, so when that battle happened, by the way, you guys did great. I really appreciate you. We're going to be obviously, we're going to be long-lasting friends from here on out. There's no question. But these sons of bitches, they stole something from me. They stole floppy disks. And he hands, that's the advanced technology of the 90s, Chad. He hands Goliath a floppy disk. And he's like, what is this foul magic? And he's like, well, think of it as a book filled with hundreds upon thousands upon millions of spells. That's what they stole from me. And I need you to help me get him back. And he's like, I don't know about this. He's like, let me explain to you. Apparently, this is fucking weird, chat. They're holding each floppy, it's like a video game. They're holding each floppy disk in 3 separate locations. One is on the Hudson River, and it's in this giant, like, skyscraper island building. They got one there. They're hiding another one in their secret base in the subway system of New York, and they got a third one in a fucking helicarrier from Marvel. It's like, that is some copyright right there, in a helicarrier. And he's like, the thing is, they all have to be hit at the exact same time, so they don't alert each other, so they won't go into lockdown. So I need your help. And Goliath's like, I don't know. And, I want to be involved in human affairs. And Xander's like, listen, I understand. Like, don't worry about it. Hey, take a day to think about it. That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you to do it. That's the last thing I want to do to you, Goliath. Tell you to do something. No. Just think about it, and then we'll touch on it. We'll put a pin. And he's like, okay. And then, shall we cut to the next night? And Goliath, he's about to head out and talk to Detective Mazza. And the other gargoyles, they're just fascinated by New York. And he's like, okay, guys, like, you can go out, fair enough. You can learn about the humans and how advanced they are, but stay out of sight. And they're like, yes, sir. And the red one, the blue one, and the orangey brown one, they fly off, chat. They do their thing. Glide. And then Goliath, he goes to meet Eliza. Eliza goes, oh, Goliath, you're here. And she's like, oh, yes, I've appeared. And who pops up behind her, chat? It's the big one. It's the oldest of the gargoyles. And she's like, oh, you brought a friend. She's a little disappointed. Simply Carly, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the host. Appreciate it. Oh. Rashida Jones does her voice, so that's why, that makes sense. wait, seriously, Rashida Jones does the voice of Detective Mazza? Really? How old was she when she did this? She must have been a teenager. I had no idea, because she's fairly young, right? Wow. I'm just kind of shocked by that. Yeah, so the oldest gargoyle, he drops down. She's like, oh, are you going to be coming with us? And he's like, I'm just not sure. I just don't know. And then she continues her conversation with Goliath, explaining all these different things. Because she asks the gargoyles, like, oh, what's your name? He's like, I don't have a name. They call him Goliath, but I'm not called that. Why do humans feel the need to name something? They feel like they need to own something. She goes, well, it would just be, convenient, and, to have you be named something. He's like, well, why do you call the sky the sky? Why do you call the river the river? And she goes, well, we call that river the Hudson. And he's like, fine, call me the Hudson. And so, chat, the oldest gargoyle, we finally have another name, chat. He is called Hudson, and that is his name. And she asks him, so are you going to join us on our adventures, Hudson? Well, that's what Goliath asked him. You going to join us, Hudson? And he's like, nah, I'm going to go back to the castle. That feels familiar to me. And so he goes back to the castle, chat, and he's trying to acclimate to the human society, because he goes into what he thought might be his room, but he sees a fucking lazy boy recliner. He's like, what is this black fucking magic? He sits down, he said, oh, well, this is just lovely. I love this. And he picks up the remote control, chat, to the TV. Boop. Turns it on. What does he see? It's just some guy screaming and hollering on the guitar. He goes, it's insanity. And he fucking just runs out there. He runs out of the room, chat, knocks over the lazy boy. Same with the gargoyle dog. And like, fuck that. No, thank you. Too loud. This new world is too loud for me. Too exciting. But then, chat, we cut back to the 3 gargoyles, red, blue, and brownish orange. And they're just fucking watching this guy on a motorcycle like, that looks amazing. I'm going to get a closer look. And the guy's like, no, don't do that. And so the brownish orange one, it just starts gliding right next to the guy. And he immediately starts talking to him. It's like, what are you doing? And the other motorcycle goes, what the fuck? And he crashes, Chad. He breaks every goddamn bone in his body. I mean, he's just a mass of meaty lump. He's just a meaty lump in the street. And he goes, well, that guy's not going to use it. And so the gargoyle, it rides the motorcycle, Chad, but it goes fucking spins out because he doesn't know how to control it. Fucking slammed into a wall. Explosion. It's like, whoa. This is not good. Goliath's not going to be happy. Well, unless we tell him, he will never find out, right? And they fly back to the castle, Chad. Now, we're with, we cut to these two random New York citizens, chat. They're in a bad section of New York, though. This is right around the time of Giuliani, New York, and so he's cleaning up the city at this point. And this poor guy, their car breaks down, and his wife is just badgering him. It's like, well, you spent 40 grand in the car, Herbert. What do you expect was going to happen? This is a peasant car. You should have paid the $100,000. He's like, shut up, woman. Stop talking. I'm going to go out there and fix it. She's like, you can barely fix the coffee maker at home. What are you going to do? And he's just like, I just want you to shut up, please. And he goes out there, Chad. He's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. And then he hears 3 street urchins, Chad, 3 delinquents, 3 gang members. They come behind him. He's like, oh, we can help you with your car, mister. But we need some cash. First he's like, oh, don't hurt me. He's like, oh, we're going to fucking hurt you bad. They got their knives out, Chad. They got their chain going. They're spinning in the air. They got a lead pipe. And then who pops up behind him, Chad? Detective Eliza Maza. And she has, she has the best line of the episode because it implies something. I'm like, this show knows exactly what it's doing. Where she says, I didn't know this is the meeting of the 4 Inches Club. Implying that they have small dicks. This was on Disney. This was a Disney Channel show. And she says, I didn't know this was the meaning of the Small Dicks Club. And I'm like, wow. Okay, show. You got some balls. Literally. Probably bigger than the 4-Inch Club, no doubt. And she's like, I'm a detective, and I think you guys are going to get going. I'm like, oh, a detective, we're not scared of you, honey. And she's like, oh, are you sure about that? And she begins to back in the alley, chat. They go after her, chat, and then she just fucking, I was like, oh, please don't talk to my friend here. And then it's Goliath, chat. He goes, rah! And he immediately begins to fuck these guys up. He grabs one guy by the leg, fucking brains him against a brick wall, chat. Throws one guy into a dump. The other one's like, please don't hurt me. Please. And Goliath just crushes his skull. He's just dead. And he goes, well, that was great. And he's like, yes, but I'm sad that the times have not changed. Humanity is just as violent. She goes, oh, Goliath, I'll show you some of the best features of this city, of New York City. He's like, fine. And so they run. Also, the fucking couple are like, oh my God, a monster. And they run away. And he's like, oh, I guess that's human hospitality. And she goes, they're not all that way. It's like, hey, I'm not that way. I'm glad I met you. And you just, again, chat, she's just like, and I want you. Goliath's like, he's too. Clearly, Goliath's like, okay, you're very affectionate towards me, but it's still awkward for me. But let's go. And they just fucking walk. They just go walking, and they're walking in Central Park, and they're literally arm in arm at this point. Like, she has him in his arm, and he's like, okay. And they're just having this very nice conversation, and she's explaining hey, what's good about humanity, like the things that we have here, and he even admits, Goliath's like, you know what, some of the things you're showing me, I'm seeing the beauty. And she's just staring deeply into his eyes, and he's staring deeply into her eyes. He's like, are they going to smooch already? Is that what's going to happen? And then a fucking dart immediately hits him from behind in his neck. He's like, what the fuck? And he pulls it out, chat, and the goddamn corporate evil company that attacked in the previous episode, they jump out there, chat, and they just start blasting. They start grappling with Goliath. They start grappling with Eliza. Chat, she's fucking fighting him off, though. She's punching him, chat. She's just got some by the balls and the dick, and she's ripping them off and things. And but they are overcome. They overcome Goliath. He falls down because the whatever it is that was in the dart takes his effect, chat. He's captured. Eliza's captured, and that's it. Fades to black. What's gonna happen next? Are fucking Eliza and Goliath gonna smooch next episode? I don't know. I've never seen this before. It's all new to me. But chat, I'll admit, I'm loving this show. It is so much fun. I'm very surprised with the dark tone. I really enjoy the character. Like, honestly, I mean, the only characters I'm a little iffy on are the comedic 3 gargoyles. I'm like, I know why they have to be there because it's a kid's show. I get it, but it's taken me a while to warm up to them. But I'm loving Xantos. I'm loving Goliath. I love Detective Maza. I love Hudson. That's great. Fucking Owen, Alan Rickman, he's great. I mean, it's not really Alan Rickman, but clearly that's an impression of him. And the world they kind of set up. It's just a really fun show so far. And I'm anticipating watching the next episode. So I highly recommend it. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. Teresa, I think Disney thought they had to compete with Batman. Yeah. Oh, this is clearly... Yeah. This is definitely what... trying to match it. Because it's far more mature. The writing is very smart. The characters have an infinite amount of depth. Something I was just shocked by. But yeah, I'm back in the day, I would have loved the show. I just never sat down to watch it until now. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I think it would last for like 3 seasons, I believe. I mean, I would love it eventually if they were to go. Unless the story ends at a very definitive point. I don't know, maybe fucking Eliza and Glad they go out to make some fucking gargoyle human babies. I'm not sure. But if it didn't, I would love a sequel series someday. I think that'd be really cool. Or an adaptation. Yeah, but it's great, chat. Seriously, I recommend it. Ask Carl, welcome to stream. It's my favorite Disney animated show. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites. Yeah. Brave Mango, great to hear. I knew you'd love it. Yeah, it's so much fun. Dreamsmoke, Keith David did the voice of Goliath. Yep, he did. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't chomping. He was not chomping on me. I didn't hear any nuts cracking in between his lines. Thankfully. Yeah, it's great to kind of watch these older shows on Disney Plus. So, and hey, that fucking subscription's paying for itself with quality content. So I'm enjoying it. Really enjoying it, chat.